Good evening and welcome to our regular meeting of the St. Mary Parish School Board, Thursday, February 8, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Dr. Fagan Bush, can you please take roll?
Miss Brent, Miss Moore,
Present.
Mrs. Anselm,
Present.
Miss Jones,
Here.
Miss Griffin,
Here.
Miss LaSalle,
Here.
Mr. Ponte,
Here.
Mr. Parody,
Here.
Mr. Mancuso,
Here.
Mrs. Dennis, Mrs. Black.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If you are able to, please stand for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, first up on our agenda are our introduction of students and employees of the month. First up is Centerville Middle and High School.
Good evening. This evening, I'm thrilled to introduce three outstanding individuals who represent the best of what Centerville has to offer. First, I'd like to introduce Miss Isis Gant. Isis, come see. Isis is the daughter of Miss Yamali Marsh Gant and Mr. Terrell Gant. She is an 8th grade student. She is also named Student of the Year this year in 8th grade. This is Isis's second time being named Student of the Year. She was also Student of the Year when she was in elementary school. Not only is she an honor roll student, but she also dedicates her time to volunteering for her church, is an active member of Junior Beta, and has played on our junior high volleyball team. Her favorite subject is social studies. When she's not at school, she likes to shop, bake, play volleyball. When she grows up, she would like to be a lawyer. Miss Isis Gant. Next, I'd like to introduce our 12th grade student of the month, Miss Macy Pellerin. Macy is the daughter of Nicole and Brandon Pellerin. Macy is also our 12th grade student of the year. Macy is a very involved student. She is the president of Senior Beta, vice president of 4-H, captain of both the Quiz Bowl team and the cheerleading squad. Macy is also in our gifted program and carries a cumulative GPA of 4.03. When she isn't in school, Macy likes spending time with her family and friends. Her future plans include attending a state university where she will major in biochemistry. That's officially UL, right? Go Cajuns. All right. After obtaining her undergraduate degree, she would like to pursue dental school. Miss Macy Pellerin. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce our teacher of the month, also our teacher of the year, Miss Nicole Pellerin. Miss Pellerin has also been named Teacher of the Year. She is married to Mr. Brandon Pellerin, and they have 3 children together, one of which is Macy. Mrs. Pellerin is in her 19th year of teaching. Of those 19 years, 6.5 have been at Centerville High School. She does a lot for CHS. She is our math lead teacher, PBIS junior and high school coordinator, cheerleader co-sponsor, senior beta co-sponsor, quiz bowl sponsor, and ACT night coordinator. Inside the classroom, Ms. Pellerin sets her expectations high, and it shows by watching the growth of her students year in and year out. When Ms. Pellerin isn't working, she likes to relax and read a book. I've never seen her relax. So, Ms. Pellerin.
Okay, next up is Bayou Vista Elementary.
Go. All right, good evening, everybody. I'd first like to introduce our student of the month, who's also our student of the year, Miss Elise Geisler. She is accompanied by her parents and her brothers, and I'd like you all to know that her favorite sibling could not be with us, and it's her dog, Lucy. As she stands here, you might get the impression that she's quiet and shy, but on the contrary, she's quite the leader. She currently has a 3.8 GPA, and over the last 2 years, she has scored 2 advanced and 2 masteries on her LEAP test. She is a member of our junior beta and will be competing in a dance competition at the convention in 2 weeks. And she also designed our trading pin, which is a first for us. So we were excited for her for that. And she's a part of our 4-H club. She's also a part of Sacred Heart Youth Formation Group, in which she received the Holy Sacrament of Reconciliation. Elise has many different interests. Not only is she a great student that loves school, but she's also an athlete. She attends a dance company and plays soccer. She is also a band student. Elise thinks of herself as creative. She likes to cook with her uncle, and she plans to open her own restaurant one day. Miss Elise Geisler is an all-around great kid. Both her classmates and teachers enjoy being around her. She's always willing to lend a helping hand. She has a bright future ahead of her, and we are proud to have her represent Bayou Vista Elementary this year. Next, we have Ms. Paige Thomas. She is our Employee of the Month as well as our Teacher of the Year. She is accompanied by her dad and mom, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, and her sisters. Teaching runs in the family. Her mom is a retired St. Mary educator of 33 years, and her sister teaches at Watts. And I would like to personally, I've never met her mom, I've seen you before, but I just want to tell y'all thank you because you have put some great work ethic and value into this young lady. She is one of my favorite people. She really, really is a hard worker. She is rarely absent. She does what she has to do, does not complain. She's been with me since I've been at Bayou Vista Elementary, and I told her when I first saw her that I was never that good at the beginning. I cried every day. I was so jealous that this girl was so good her first year of teaching. So again, my hat's off to Mom. No matter how much I compliment her, though, she remains humble. She takes constructive criticism and again, does not complain. And even though I suggest things to her, she doesn't do exactly what I say she should do, but she makes it her own and she makes it better. So I appreciate that as well. Very reflective in her practices and always keeping an eye out for the next best technology in order to keep her students engaged. She has a great rapport with her colleagues, students, and their families, and she's currently participating in the UL Leadership Cohort here in St. Mary. I'm looking forward to watching her continue to blossom as an educator and maybe become a future principal or district leader here in St. Mary. Ms. Paige Thomas.
And can we also ask their families to stand to be recognized?
All right, and next up is Morgan City High School.
All of her children. And her sister's children.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to present to you Miss Michelle Beals. Michelle is the daughter of Daniel Beals and Tap Nguyen. She's here tonight with her mother, Tap. She's the 12th grade student of the month for February, but she is also Morgan City High School's 2023-2024 Student of the Year. She's an exemplary student, and her list of accomplishments is longer than we have time for, so I'll only highlight a few. She's maintained straight A's throughout high school. She's an extremely talented artist and actor, participating in both the drama club and the talented art program. She's one of the most active members in our JROTC program, which requires her to spend hours of her time volunteering and working with this organization. She's a leader on campus, serving as a Tiger Ambassador, a member of our Beta program, and the Quiz Bowl captain. She was also voted Senior Student Council class president, by her peers. Additionally, she studied to enroll biology on an academic scholarship to Nicholls State University. She will be receiving just under $40,000 in assistance. Additionally, her teachers describe her as an exemplary student, as she is kind, considerate, patient, determined, and humble. It is with great Tiger pride that I present to you Miss Michelle Beals. I also have with me tonight Mrs. Robin Mason. She's here with her husband and her family, which take up basically the entire back row. Mrs. Mason is our employee of the month, but she's also our teacher of the year. She's been teaching for 11 years and her passion is undeniable. She teaches U.S. history at Morgan City High School. She also spends much of her time tackling the daunting task of creating our school's yearbook. Throughout her teaching career, she's accomplished many things, including, but not limited to, earning her master's degree, winning the VFW Teacher of the Year, and mastering the use of technology in her classroom, and using that information to present to other teachers on the district and state level, which led her to being nominated for a LeCue State Teacher of the Year award. She spends countless hours outside of school supporting various organizations and programs, and her pride in what she does is consistently evident. However, it's not her accomplishment that the students love, it's her personality and her passion. I'm not sure if you're aware, but keeping the attention of high school students can be a bit challenging sometimes. She does it with ease. Mrs. Mason has a very colorful personality. She's keeping it shy tonight, but usually her outfits are parallel. There are days you may see her dressed as a flapper girl just because it fits the historical class theme. Sometimes she'll dress as an inflatable cow just because. The kids know to expect silly antics from Mrs. Mason, and they love it. She's absolutely an asset to Morgan City High School. Mrs. Robin Mason.
Once again, can we have the family stand? That whole back row right there. And
Next up is the approval of the amended agenda, which there isn't any. So moving on, approval of the official school board minutes from our regular meeting on January 11th, 2024. Can I get a motion? Ms. Moore makes the motion, Ms. Anselm seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, before we get to the consent agenda, just basically across our state, we've been getting some information on 1C, the gifts and donations policy DFK. So we're asking that we table that for now until we get some more information. It's just constantly evolving. And so at this point, we feel like we're not ready. Are there any objections to tabling 1C gifts and donations policy DFK? Okay, hearing none, we'll table that one. Under new approval of consent agenda, the items preceded with an asterisk will constitute the consent agenda, with board members being able to remove any items so desired from the consent agenda at our meeting. All remaining items will constitute the finalized consent agenda and be voted on altogether. Dr. Fagenbush, please read the items on the consent agenda.
new business, personnel, number 1, approval of policies from Forethought Consulting as revised by Hammonds and Sills. A, administrative records, CN. B, grants, DFF. D, use of automated external defibrillators, AED, and cardiac emergency plan, EBBH. E, probation, GBG. F, parent conferences, IHAD. G, school wellness, JGB. H, student health services, JGC. I, sick leave, GBRIB. And J, employee sick leave bank, GBRIBB. Under business affairs, number 4, approval of amendment number 2 to temporarily ease servitude and right-of-way easement for monitoring and access. Number 8, permission to advertise for library jobber contract. Number 9, approval for amendment to 2023-2024 pupil progression plan. Number 10, approval of field trip date change request for Franklin Junior High School student council travel to historical sites in Atlanta, Georgia on May 19th through the 22nd, 2024. And number 14, proclamations. A, Read Across America Day, March 2nd, 2024. And B, National School Breakfast Week, March 4th through the 8th, 2024.
What are the wishes of the board? Mr. Mancuso?
I'd like to pull 1B grants, BFF.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Mancuso? Okay, Mr. Parity?
Please pull 1I and 1J. So 1I is GBRIB and 1J is GBRIBB.
Okay, any other items that need to be pulled? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus number 1B, I, and J? Ms. LaSalle makes that motion. Ms. Brent makes that second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 1, approval of policies from Forethought Consulting as revised by Hammonds and Seals. Number 1B, grants, DFF. Mr. Mancuso.
Yes, I just had one comment on that policy. Under the suggested addition paragraph, the school board shall be notified of all grants. I'd like to add a time frame to that to specify no later than the next regular board meeting after the grant application is submitted. And that's the only comment I have to that.
I have a comment as well. Grants have ending dates, and I'd like to know the ending dates of the grants that we have out. Don't understand.
To put in here. Yeah, okay. So you want notification of what
When
grants?
grants are ending.
Can I ask a point of clarification? When you say at the next board meeting, can we get a little more clarification on that? Because let's say we receive the grant a week before the board meeting, we're doing an agenda. It might be impossible to get that.
I'm looking for the after the application is submitted for the grant.
But again, if it was right before the board meeting, you said you wanted,
Understood. Yeah,
at
I
that
mean,
board
it-
meeting?
It can be as long as it fits the open meeting law as far as posting the agenda, that's fine.
okay, because we don't have anyone specifically that works with grants. So this will be a responsibility that will make sure that we get refined in our departments and our system. But I just want you to know right now, so when they come to us, they go through perhaps several hands before they might get to me. So I just want you to know it might not be possible to always put that right before the board meeting.
Understood.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion on this policy? Does it need to go under, like, are we adding it to this one? Or do we need to make that suggestion and then come back?
I mean, I'm good with adding that verbiage. I think to clarify Ms. LaSalle's comment, we could say the details of which to be specified also. We could just add a sentence there and that would take care of both of those concerns.
Is that something like we could put like in the superintendent newsletter or something like
Fine.
what I'm kind of thinking?
That would be the wishes of the board and how you determine the policy. So I just need people to understand that we don't have a grant writer or someone specifically that works with grants. So it's not as seamless, you
No,
know, as
and
that
I understand.
process.
It says that we're going to be notified of them. I just wanted to have a time frame. That was all.
Okay.
Just thought it made it a little bit cleaner.
Okay, so are we adding by the next board meeting?
Yes, after the grant application is submitted.
Okay. So it would say the school board shall be notified of all grants by the next
Regular board meeting after the grant application is submitted.
regular board meeting after grant has been submitted.
Grant application.
Grant. And Ms. LaSalle, what was your,
I'd like to know when, I think the board should know when grants are ending. We could probably keep our own information together so that if we have questions, if we see that a grant is about to close, we could ask the question, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna keep this grant closed? Or are we going to put it within the regular budget? Or is the program gonna go away? Those kind of questions we need to ask.
Okay. How many grants do we look at, like on?
I mean, honestly, with the word grants, I think that's such a broad term right now in the way that I feel that perhaps you're asking the questions. We have grants within our super application. We have grants that we do for literacy coaches. It's for instructional reasons. They're called grants. Sometimes it's part of a program or something in which we're applying for. So this is going to be a very cumbersome and time-consuming thing for which you're asking for if you're saying grants in general, because that could be so many things.
I'm good with the grace. The only thing, the requirement to notify the board was already there. I just wanted to stipulate a timing of that requirement. That's all. And I'm good if it misses 1 month. Obviously, we would expect to see it the next month.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, I know that there are grants that are written by different schools, different departments. I'm more concerned with grants that would affect the overall budget. That would come from your office, I guess. For instance, if we hire somebody that is a grant related hire, I'd like to know when that grant will end, so I can ask you, what are we gonna do with that position? Oh,
Yes, ma'am, that's generally outlined in the grant. So the beginning date and ending date is in the grant, and if it was a job description specific towards that grant, it states within the grant itself that that position is not guaranteed after that grant is complete. So they
Right.
understand that it's for the duration of the grant in which they've been hired.
but if it's a new position, sometimes they may fit somewhere else in the association, in the organization, so then that would make us absorb that person from that grant. So it's just a way for me to keep myself aware of the personnel hiring, firing, where they are.
Sure. Usually though, the job descriptions are specific to the grants when we create that. And then if we were to maintain that position, we would have to come before the board and ask for an updated job description in order for us to fill that position again. So we just can't take a job description that was created specifically towards a grant and then just change it to create a position within our district. It would have to be revised by the board at that time.
I have a question. I just wanted clarification on what specifically Ms. LaSalle is asking for. Are you asking for grant details only tied to specific jobs or just grants in general?
Grants pertaining to jobs and programs. In the past, before this board and other boards, we've had programs that were specific to a grant. The grant ended, but the program didn't.
So is that something that we can have in our regular budget, just one, like a one pager in like a budget workshop, or just included in the budget updates that we get, that these are the list of all of the current grants, this is the start date, this is the end date, and just have a running list of those items? Is that asking too much?
Mhm.
Ms. Blasey, can you go up to the microphone, please?
I was just saying, like, I put my hands on almost every grant that we receive at the school board. We only have a couple of state grants, which are general fund grants. And so that's our pre-K, so it's our 8G and our LA4, which Shannon handles, and 100% of that is the salaries and benefits of those teachers. So that never ends. That's like every year, whatever our allocation is, we budget within that. And then we have multiple, probably 40 federal grants. The state grants in 6/30 of each year, the federal grants in 9/30 of each year. And then we have this major deadline of our ESSER funds, which is 9/30 of 24. They're telling us they may give us an extension for 3 months, which would be great. But I can put together a summary of all our grants and all of this information and email it to y'all.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry we put you on the spot, but thank you. Awesome. So yeah, I definitely think that's something that we could identify too in our budget workshops, like that we have so many grant positions, they'll be through this year, timeline. And in regards to Mr. Mancuso's, his by the next regular board meeting after grant application has been submitted is
Correct. Yes, then I make a motion to accept that policy with that additional time requirement.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Mancuso with the addition of by the next regular school board meeting after a grant application has been submitted, and a second by Ms. Moore. Any?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. The application. I'm looking for the application. Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next would be 1D, use of automated external defibrillator, AED, and cardiac emergency plan, EBBH. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's go to I. 1I, sick leave, GBRIB. Mr. Parity.
Sure. So Ms. Black, 1I and 1J, I'll have the same explanation. So there's been a lot of discussion amongst employees, and I've been contacted by a number of folks regarding these two policies as it directly affects employees. And it's something that they're very concerned with. So my personal opinion is we need to reevaluate this from a policy committee within our board to go ahead and address those two policies as a whole, much greater than what we have right now. So my motion at this time, well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussions?
I just wanted to clarify if some people don't understand, the reason that we would want it before a committee is because it could be freely talked about a little better to where we don't feel like we're violating anything, to make it clear what the wishes of the people that it affects are. And we just want to hear their voice. So that's it.
We tabled it at the last meeting. Can you give us some idea about what the concerns are? Because I haven't received that.
Sure, Ginger, some of the comments have been regarding special circumstances or the combination of employees, teachers, and bus drivers as a single policy, okay, and some of the different requirements of the revised statutes. So I think my personal opinion, we've taken the policy that was there, modified it, but it needs to be elaborated upon more, in my opinion.
Could we approve this policy, and then at some point when the policy committee meets and discusses things, you could get to this and then do that revision then, so that they can go ahead and have this policy put in place now, and we could adjust it as needed?
I don't think that we should without the committee meeting. And that is one of the concerns that that I have as a board member. We have not met as a committee to discuss this. So therefore, we need to sidebar and come back for better understanding and clarification for the persons that it involves.
And again, my question is, as far as the sick leave policy, what are the concerns there? I'm gonna take them one at a time. I like to hear about the sick
Understood,
leave
sure.
policy.
So specifically on the sick leave policy, it's the wording specifically around I'm sorry, Ginger, let me flip to it. the wording specifically around special circumstances, okay, is part of the main concern brought up with folks and being able to utilize the days for items outside of, even though we've identified some examples, to have a mechanism in place for them to be approved, have it in writing, be approved for personal days or days of leaves of absence outside of what's written right here. So that we've proposed to amend into the policy at this time.
Okay, by law, we can only give 2 personal days. Okay, the special circumstances, that was two summers ago. The state had put that in place with absolutely no guidance, just special circumstances. So that's why we put some of those examples in there so that would give people, because we would get calls about, bereavement, marriage, things like that, that would happen throughout the year or unexpectedly.
No, and I agree that they didn't give guidance, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I think we need to, I understand that we have some examples in our policy, but maybe we need to provide a little more guidance. That way there's not so many questions and not so much confusion amongst our teachers and employees regarding the policy and why the changes are being implemented.
It's not really a change, it's just adding in what we're supposed to be adding in as the special circumstances and allowing people to use the day here or there, based on those special circumstances. So it's not, special circumstances wouldn't be, I'm leaving to go shopping for Christmas and I'm leaving the Friday, things like that. But family needs, go ahead.
No, I just have to say that I've been on the board a while, and one thing I did notice from coming from the outside world to the school system world, it's like day and night. Outside world we have no say on what these questions are. When can we go? We need to have a say on when we can take our special leave. We need to have a say on when we can have our personal days. I was just shocked to say, people listen to that? But a lot of it is law.
Mhm.
And I just spent some time in personnel in the outside world, and a few people would ask those questions, but they would be told it's the law, it's in the handbook. What's in the handbook is what it is. I think the problem is hierarchy. There's a principal at a school, and that principal is in charge of all employees, right? So whenever, I'm just kind of combining these two worlds. So whenever somebody has a need, the principal would know it's a good time for you to take the personal day because nobody's out sick. But if you require a personal day and she's got 5 teachers out, that's not a good day for a personal day. And how do you put that in writing? It's just occurs from everyday life and from having respect that the principal is going to do the best she can to give you that day. It's not that she's trying, or he is trying to stop you from getting that day. Maybe the employees need to understand that. Does that make sense? Or am I still in the secular world?
Just for clarification, if they say it's a personal day, we're not allowed to ask.
Oh, you're not allowed.
No, ma'am. They have 2 personal days. When they say personal, we don't ask. It is what it is. They also have the 2 special circumstances days. So this is just trying to help people understand what those special circumstances could be. This is not anything new. This is just more of a clarification for some examples of what that might look like. Who, us? I've received no calls, and I've asked around with other board members.
Are they wanting more? Cause I hadn't gotten any response from the community at all. Are they wanting more specific examples of what those well, cause what I'm asking that because sometimes that could hurt more than it could help. Because if you stick too many specific things on it, like you're trying to take the ambiguity out of it, but then when you make it so like these are the only special circumstances, then you leave something may come up that we can't even dream about would be a special circumstance.
So if I may ask, do we identify that we have 2 personal days and 2 special circumstances in the policy? Or somewhere, because that probably would have cleared up a lot of confusion.
We do have the 2 personal days, and when it says the 2
this
special
policy?
circumstances, it's specific to 2 particular situations. Okay, so you may have a special circumstance that may require more than 2 days. If you have a spouse or a parent or someone that passes away, you may need more than 2 days. You may be the person that has to take care of all the paperwork and things like that. So we're not saying it's only 2, but for those 2 specific, like the marriage, you get the 2 days. We're not giving you special circumstances to go on a honeymoon. So that's why we listed it as 2 days. And then the other one, yeah, that's really the only one with the marriage. Because the death, we didn't specify only 2 days because we know in some situations, you're gonna need more than 2.
But the superintendent just said that they don't have to tell you what the.
That's on your personal days.
Oh,
That's
only
not just
personal
special
days.
circumstances. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So with special circumstances, there was also a concern about one specific person having control. Also, it's stating in item 1I of this about the extended sick leave at 65% of the salary instead of 100%.
Okay, that's extended sick leave.
Right,
That has nothing
so,
to do
but
with
it's-
special circumstances.
Correct, but it's stated in the policy on I, any employee on extended sick leave shall be paid 65% of the salary. So the real problem came when it came to the employee sick leave bank. They donate that at 100% rate, and then it's only being returned
Okay,
at
that's a whole
65.
different policy, though. That's a different
Correct.
policy.
I understand, but we're talking about and we're asking what some of the problems are, and this is stated in I.
Okay,
even
by
though it's
law.
addressed in J.
By law, extended sick leave is 65%. That's why that's in this one.
Right.
But as far as the 65% in the sick bank, that's a different policy.
Correct, and I understand, but it's listed in both to where it becomes a concern with that and the fact that
I think
one.
you're mixing up
Okay,
extended sick
right.
leave and a sick bank, cause like I don't put into a sick bank, but I still get extended sick leave at 65%.
Right.
Like everybody gets that.
By law, we have to give the extended sick leave, the 90 days, and it's 65% of your pay, okay?
We can't adjust
Now,
that. Yeah.
right, the sick bank, that's a whole different thing. So we can't change extended sick leave, 65% of the pay, because that's the law. Now, in the sick bank policy, then that's what y'all would vote on as to whether you want the 65% or whatever.
That's what I was saying. There was a discrepancy of this being stated in this one and them having the lines blurred of extended sick leave versus sick bank and it both being stated. They weren't seeing the differentiation between the two as it being stated clearly for extended sick leave to be 65%, which is the law.
Right.
So
we
maybe it
can't
just
change
needs to
that.
be stated with it more clearly, is what I'm saying.
Okay, and
That
when
that
they
is
go,
in our policy, the sick leave is 65% in a different place. It's also in our goal book and everything else that we discuss. But,
Mhm.
and you have to, in order to get to a sick bank, which means also that you participated in it. I don't participate in the sick bank. I have 300 and something sick days. I hope I don't ever get that sick, right? thank God. So I don't participate because I'm never going to gain anything from a sick bank. And so, but some people do participate in a sick bank. I think I asked Ms. Estes, we have about 300, you said, that have
Yeah.
participated out of the 1,300 plus employees. So we're extended sick leave is totally different. And once you ask for, you have your sick bank days, that means you have exhausted all of your own personal days that you have, plus the extended sick leave. And now you're coming to the sick leave bank asking for the days. So it's not the same thing. And so that we know generally when people come to the sick bank, which is another conversation, but since you feel that it's the same, they have already proven medically that they have a need to use all of their personal sick leave, all of their extended medical leave. That's an obvious medical concern that has been shown. And now they're coming to the sick bank in which they've donated and asking for that additional support. So there's some very obvious things that have already been shown concerning someone's medical concerns by that time.
Another thing, we haven't selected the committee. It would probably help us, Andrew, to select a committee so that these questions can.
So there is actually, it's every member of the board is part of the policy review committee, and Andrew is the chairperson, so he'll get that set up.
Oh, was that last month? And
I wasn't here last month, so it was a couple hours ago.
A couple hours ago? Who decided that? Who decided that?
The president makes the committees, so me.
You decided it. Well, what are you, but you didn't.
I didn't
tell
have a
us.
chance to make the announcement yet.
I read your mind, okay.
I have a question. We have a motion on the floor? No?
That was my question.
So,
That was.
well, to add to the
that was-
discussion, I did get a couple of calls today. I hadn't prior to today, and to be honest, I couldn't give clarity on the questions that were asked to me. So I agree with the recommendation to table the conversation and allow the committee to review so that we can get feedback and give educated responses to our constituents. So that's just my recommendation, because I'm gonna be honest and say, if I have to vote on it tonight, I'm gonna vote no, because I can't give clear and concise answers to my constituents.
Ms. Griffin?
We tabled this at the last meeting. I think we've given ample time for y'all to call, ask questions, get your answers. Over and above to make this as clear as possible. I want to make a motion that we accept the policy as written.
I mean, the calls that I received, they were saying that they never got this policy, seen the policy.
It's always posted on the website, so
But,
make
you know,
sure they
that's-
know.
yeah,
It's
okay.
posted
It's in
30
our- yeah.
days prior to the,
And so for more clarity, even I think I sent a group message to everyone that you cannot respond to, just so everyone knows. It was just informational text that stated that for clarity purposes and more transparency, even on our main page, it says board agenda here, any policies being considered are here, and all of those links were available and have been.
make sure they know to, when they, if they ask you that, they're usually they're always posted. I think we passed a policy or cleaned up that policy that it would be,
I can say
Well,
my
they
wasn't, we
posted
just said
They
it.
posted it a couple weeks after the last meeting, not immediately after, and I think that's part of the.
Gotcha.
I think that's, so my constituents actually saw the policy, but still was confused and had questions, and I couldn't answer them. So I just feel like as a committee, we can get together and talk about it and discuss it, the specific questions that were asked.
We have Ms. Griffin with a motion to approve as is. Do we have a second? Ms. LaSalle seconds it. Any other discussion? Okay, so this is, what you're voting on is as is with how you've gotten it in your packet, okay? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Brent? Ms. Moore?
Nay.
Ms. Anselm? Ms. Jones? Ms. Griffin? Ms. LaSalle? Yes. Mr. Ponte? Yes. Mr. Parity? Mr. Mancuso?
Nay.
Mrs. Dennis? Absent. And Mrs. Black? Yes. A vote of 4 to 6 does not pass.
All right, does anybody want to make another motion?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to go ahead and table this until the committee meets and we can reconvene on the,
Okay,
on the,
all right, so Mr. Parity makes a motion to table it. Ms. Jones makes that second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay. All righty, motion carries. It'll be tabled and Mr. Mancuso can set a meeting up for his committee. All right. Okay, so did we just put both of those, table both I and J, or do we need to do the same thing? That was just I. Okay, let's go on to J, employee sick leave bank, GBRIBB. Mr. Parity.
okay, so the main comment that I've gotten back is one, the change to 65% from 100%, which the understanding of extended sick leave being at 65% and applying for the bank makes sense. But if our teachers have donated a day, is there a mechanism in place for us to go ahead and increase the sick leave bank at an index of the difference between 1 to 65%? Okay, so that was the first comment that's been brought about on that particular item. The second is the reduction from 60 days to 45 days. Now, granted, I think a lot of this was brought up because of circumstances that we all hope we're not facing, obviously. And I think that's where the largest area of concern was. I don't personally understand why we would change from 60 to 45 days or what that gains us, especially if we're going to go ahead and actively reduce from 100% to 65%, which I don't have an issue with, provided we have an index in place to go ahead and make up for the difference. They're donating 1, and we're paying 0.65. So we would end up actually adding it for every day donated. The bank needs to be increased by.
They're donating 1, but they're also taking more than that 1. And then reviewing other districts' policies, like we didn't just come up this on our own. We just kind of reviewed other districts and their policies and how they had it. And the 45 days was because that's a whole 9-week period. So you're not only missing all the 90 days prior, you're still missing the 45 also.
No, and I understand, and trust me, part of it is I'm hoping nobody uses this, right?
Mhm.
Because that's some kind of catastrophic illness or injury that they're dealing with.
Right.
But you're saying they're taking more than that. What do you mean?
Well, just like, okay,
If you donate 1, they're taking more than 1 at 0.65 or
correct.
how?
See, because part of your sick bank is you can get up to the 45 days. That's what we have it now. It used to be up to the 60, but still currently is up to 60 per year. So if I donate to the bank and then I need to borrow from the bank, then I can borrow up to 60 days. The way the policy is currently written, and I'm getting 100% of the pay when I only donated 1 day. So I got another, and you can apply for 20 days at a time. So I got another 20 days that I'm out for sick leave. And they're getting 100% of their pay currently, but they only donated 1 day to the sick bank.
I understand, but they're donating 1 day. Right? And we're reciprocating 0.65 days or 0.65%.
Of your pay for up to 20 days at a time.
I understand, but that means 20 people donated a day at that point, right?
Right.
So we should have, if 20 people donate a day and we only pay out 0.65, we should have more than 20 in the bank. is all that I'm saying.
I understand.
So
Yeah.
that was the second item brought up. I don't have an objection to the 65% of the pay because it is in line, and after it was explained to me, going from extended sick leave to the sick leave bank, that makes sense. But in token, whatever someone's paying in should be paid out equally.
Okay.
So
Now, on the 45 days, it's because if we allow those 60, that's less days that someone else is going to be able to use. Because if we only have 300 people putting in, then you only have 300 days, and it's supposed, like, you have bus drivers putting in, you have teachers putting in, you have secretaries putting in. So if we only go, like, if you want day to day, the teachers that put in, those days are separate. Because if a secretary's putting in, their rate of pay is different than a teacher's rate of pay. So that could lessen the number of days total that each category of employee could use.
So can we table this one along with the other one and review it as a committee so we can see all those conversions and have a better understanding so we can explain it? Because that does make sense if you have the different rates of pay and what it looks like on a conversion chart. So maybe if we can sit down and see the chart, we'll have more confidence in making a decision.
That was up to y'all.
So
I
also,
have another question. Oh, did you get your answer? No? We used to have an employee committee.
Before we start, there's a motion. So she's made a motion to table it. Do I have a second? Mr. Parity seconds it. All right, now discussion, Ms. LaSalle.
Okay. We used to have a committee of employees that maybe 10 people, Mr. Perry, that used to hash this stuff out upstairs and bring it to us, and we yay or nayed it. They did all of this. What happened to that
So
committee? I don't remember this.
that was my next statement. I just wanted on the record, that was another issue. They still want to have the committee because they feel like their coworkers should be able to make the decision on that, even if it could be anonymous and nobody says who the person is, so it doesn't violate HIPAA, that they would still like the option for the committee to vote on those
I don't
things.
know why it ended. You weren't here, so you wouldn't know, but it just vanished. Maybe people stopped participating or whatever, but I would like to see that committee reconvened so employees can talk to employees in their employee talk language and then come back to us because they've agreed. And if they have a problem, they can go to their fellow employees who speak the same language, not all these questions, and we vote on it. That's the way it used to be back in the day. So I didn't know that it was a good way, but apparently it was a good way. I didn't think about it one way or the other. You remember that? You didn't like it?
I wouldn't want people to know my personal information, no matter. And everyone in St. Mary knows everybody.
Okay.
Any other discussion? The motion on the floor right now is to table it. Okay, hearing no other discussion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? 2 noes, motion carries. It'll be tabled and then Mr. Mancuso can set his meeting up. All right, next, under business affairs, discuss and take appropriate action to revise the designated school colors of Franklin Junior High School from royal blue and gold to gold and garnet. Dr. Fagenbush.
So as the board members are aware, this summer we met to consider some ESSER spending that was available. And after an 11-0 yes vote, we were able to allocate $7 million to the renovation of the now underutilized area of Franklin Senior High School, with the intent that once that area was complete, that we would move the students of Franklin Junior High School to that setting. We have come to the point in this endeavor that we have to determine the colors that will be used in that new renovated area. Last night, we did have a superintendent's input forum. It was well attended. I would say 50 to 60 people were present last night. That included also the mayor and the principals of Franklin Junior High School and Franklin Senior High School. So Mr. Jay Ina and Miss Natasha Jackson were present. After conversation last night, the community there at the end, it seemed that the consent was that they would like to go forward with considering the change to the board, that we change the colors and the mascot. So I know these are individual motions, so I would like to do them one at a time.
Okay, so this one is just on the school colors, from changing them from royal blue to gold, royal blue and gold to gold and garnet.
I'd like to make a motion to change the colors, the royal blue and gold to garnet and gold.
Okay, Ms. Jones makes that motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Brent makes that second. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, discuss and take appropriate action to change the mascot of Franklin Junior High School from Rattlers to Hornets.
So to continue the conversation from number 2, part of the discussion last night also was, would we change the current Franklin Junior High School mascot, which is Rattlers, to Hornets, which would allow continuity underneath the same building roof. Again, last night, the consent was that they would agree to that change.
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion that we change the mascot from the Rattlers to the Hornets.
Okay, Ms. Jones makes that motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Moore makes that second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 5, approve designation of funds. A, $3 million for future technology, and approve subsequent release of designated funds in the amount of $1,500,000 for technology upgrades. We can do them together. Okay, and B, $3 million for potential future self-funded group health plan. Mr. Perry.
If you recall, at the last meeting, we were going to address this, but it was not specifically on the agenda. So the Part A, future technology, as you know, we have no separate funding mechanism for technology. Last December, I think it was, the board then designated $2 million. Maybe that was in December of 22. And we're asking to designate $3 million here. That would give us $5 million. And in the meantime, just since we started talking about this, there has been a development of a technology upgrade plan in the amount of $1.5 million. So as we're putting the $3 million in and designating it, and if you recall, I said when we're going to use those funds, we have to come back to the board to get it undesignated. So there is a $1.5 million spending plan. And I wanted to keep it separate like that, where you'd see the $3 million going in and the $1.5 million coming out. So Mr. Kalen Beed, our Chief Technology Officer, he put in your packet the second item behind item 5 as a memo from him, and he'll kind of go over that with you real quick.
Good evening. So just to go over what we put in there, what we're proposing right now, we have about 1,800 Dell laptops. For next year, we'd like to start with our 9th and 10th graders, giving them a brand new Dell laptop for the work that they're going to be doing in high school. The apps that we have them run for some of the classes that they take need a more powerful laptop than the streams that we currently give our 9th and 10th graders. This would cause us needing to purchase about 1,300 Dell laptops for next year, just for 9th and 10th. Our 11th through 12th currently have Dell laptops to go through, and they will be phased out as the students move up, and then we'll, come back later on as we go through, and we'll keep what we can to reuse, but then continue to upgrade these laptops as we go, as the students progress through the grade levels. So we're just starting with 9th and 10th going forward for right now. I put specs in your packet of what the laptops call for. It is a much more powerful laptop than, like I said, the streams that we're giving them right now. The 1,300 that we're going to do for 9th through 12th, as well as give us backups for loaners in case some of the laptops do go out. We do understand them being brand new, but there could be problems or lost laptops, things like that. Also, some of the money would be used for device management software to actually help the teachers manage the laptops while they're in their classroom, to be able to remotely do things, turn on, turn off, monitor internet activity, track laptops, things like that. So that's what we're going to be asking to use these funds for.
Okay, Ms. Moore?
The designation of funding for the technology upgrade.
Okay, Ms. Moore makes a motion. Ms. LaSalle seconds. Any other discussion or question?
Normally, these kind of things come through the technology committee. You haven't been here long enough to know that we have one. So I'm just letting you know that there is a technology committee. I'm the chairman, and we'll be calling a technology meeting pretty soon to acclimate you to the process.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Mr. Parity?
One quick question. So you said we're buying 1,300 laptops or 1,200?
Wait, I'm sorry, I may have throughout. What we're doing is we're buying 100 and 1,200, so a total of 1,300 laptops. We have 1,800 currently out there that we're using between 11th and 12th grade throughout the schools, but the new laptops will be 1,300. We're going to purchase 100 right now to get us started for ones that we need for students that are in classes that need them for right now, because we have no reserve of these laptops, and then 1,200 of them for next year to get ready to put out for 9th and 10th graders in the high schools. Parish-wide, yes, ma'am.
And will these laptops stay with the students from 9th on up?
Yes, sir.
Is that the intent? Okay.
Yes, sir. And as the students move up, they will stay, and then we will come back for the next 9th grade level the following year to be able to purchase for that 9th grade, and they'll stay up. The laptops usually have a we configured them so that they'll have a life of at least 5 to 8 years on them. So we will be able to reuse some of these laptops going forward.
Okay, any?
Laptops are lasting that long, or just these special type will be able to last that long after going from hand to hand?
These, they will stay with the student, so it won't be like they'll be going from one student to the next each year. So they will stay with that student year to year. These have more RAM, more processing power than the ones that we currently are using. So they should last longer and actually be better equipped for the apps that we're going to be using in the classrooms. It's hard to tell sometimes with use. We do try to put things into their we do try to get things to help to make them last longer, such as cases, which is one of the things that we're ordering with them, to give the students all a case to carry them in. That way they're just not holding a laptop or putting it in a book sack with a bunch of books. It'll actually be a protected case that they'll have with it to hopefully last that, to get them to the 8 years, but we want them to at least get to 5 years.
I'll say that because my grandson, I know how hard he is.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Now-
Mr. Perry, B.
Now we also need to vote on releasing the 1.5 million. We just designated and approved the 3 million. So now we need a motion to release those 1.5 million.
Okay, Ms. LaSalle makes the motion to release the 1.5 million. Ms. Moore makes that second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, B.
You might recall last year when Mr. Perez was here and we really looked at a self-funded versus fully funded. And one of the things that he mentioned was that we would have to establish a startup fund of about $3 million based on our size of our district and our claims history. And so although we're not doing that, we're going to be looking at this again in September. So I thought it was a good time to go ahead and Dr. Fagenbush and I talked about it and just go ahead and designate that 3 million now. It can't be spent. It's there, so that's what I'm asking for, a motion to set that up.
I make a motion to move the 3 million for potential future self-funding our group health plan.
Okay, Ms. Ansel makes the motion. Ms. Jones makes that second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Never mind, you're up next. 6, approve audit engagement letter for the fiscal years ending June 30th, 2024 through June 30th, 2026.
In your packet, you'll see an actual audit engagement letter. This is a standard document, and normally the 3-year term is a standard term. Had a slight increase. My memo actually is incorrect. I put not to exceed 35,000 annually, which is unchanged from the last audit engagement approved. They actually went up from 32.5, so they went up $2,500, but they had not had an increase in a while. So I'm asking to approve this 3-year agreement.
Mr. Mancuso makes the motion. Ms. Griffin seconds. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 7, discuss and take appropriate action regarding the maintenance tax renewals. Mr. Perry.
As you know, we had our bonding attorney, Mr. Jason Akers from Foley and Udell, come here. He went over the taxes. As you know, we have 3 maintenance taxes that are coming up for renewal. And we can start as early as this year. And it's always best to start early. In the event that it were to fail, you have to wait 6 months to put it back on the ballot. And we want to make sure we start early enough to where if we have a problem, we get it resolved where it never interrupts the revenue stream. So, but I can't really make that decision. We've got 3 districts. So what I'm really looking for is some guidance from you guys relative to what month which ballot you want to put it on. And also, do you want to keep it at the same mills you have? Do you want to increase the mills or whatever? So I'm just looking for some guidance. Once I get that, if we come up with a consensus, then I'll go back to the bonding attorney. He's going to do a event schedule. Then we'll come back, we'll make an announcement, have to send stuff to legislators. Then the next step is adopt a resolution. There's some other steps. Once the election takes place, let's just pretend it's December, then January you have to canvass the returns, but they give us a list by list step. So I would provide that to you. So what I'm looking from you guys is some guidance as to what you want.
Ms. Griffin?
I'd like to move that we place District 2's tax renewal on the December ballot at the current millage rate of 12.73 mills.
Ms. LaSalle seconds that. Any other discussion? Mr. Mancuso?
I'd like to amend the motion to also include and place on the December ballot the renewal of the 6th Ward Special School District number 3, School Maintenance District number 3 at 12.53 mils as a renewal.
We have an amended motion. Do I have a second on that one? Ms. LaSalle seconds. All right. Any discussion or questions?
We like to also renew.
All right, so our motion's gonna be amended to also include District One at your current rate.
12.5.
All right, and Ms. Moore seconds. I hope you got that, Ms. Elodie. Any other discussion or questions?
No, I didn't hear what was the millage for District One? Was it-
12.5.
Oh, the same as that, because your current millage rate in District One is 12.42.
We can go up to 5.
It doesn't, I mean, the other two districts, adopted what they're currently charging. No, they didn't increase it, they didn't decrease it. District One has 12.42 and you're going up to 12.5. I'm not sure if that's considered a renewal at that point, or is that a new tax?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys want the 12.42 that was
12.42.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is for maintenance districts 1, 2, and 3 to put it on the December 2024 ballot. Jumping a year, at the same millage rates as we're currently having
Right.
and renewing it. All right, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, number 11, approval of makeup day due to district-wide closures, high schools. Dr. Sanders.
Good evening, everyone. I have in your packets for tonight an approval to an amendment we need to make or a revision we need to make to our school calendar. As all of you know, when we came back from our Christmas holiday, we were pretty much hit with some consecutive severe weather days. And so we missed 2.5 days of instruction. We will meet our annual minutes for all grade levels. However, we will not meet our Carnegie minutes for our high school students, and we're just missing it. So we need to fit another instructional day in the calendar for our high school students. So we have proposed that makeup date would be Thursday, May 23rd, which was originally scheduled as a teacher in-service day. Additionally, in the revisions, we're asking that we can go ahead and have an in-case day and name our next emergency makeup day, should we need it, and I'm hoping not, April 1st, which would be coming back from the Easter holiday 1 day early.
Okay, yeah, Ms. Moore. Okay, Ms. Jones.
I second the
Seconds it.
motion.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Number 12, approval of memorandum of understanding between the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office Rural Violent Crime Reduction Initiative Program and St. Mary Parish School Board. Dr. Sanders.
So a few months back, Officer West, who you all know, came to my office and we had a discussion about a grant he received through the sheriff's office. And this grant is to provide money to the sheriff's office to work with the youth in our communities. And it is called the Rural Violent Crimes Reduction Initiative. So through this grant, we would be able to provide 3 different programs to our students across the district. The first program is called Trust-Based Relational Intervention. The second one is Conflict Resolution Strategies. And the third is The Power of Positive Choices. We're proposing that if we have this MOU with the Sheriff's Office for this grant, that our students would receive these lessons at the alternative program as often as possible, and also in our PE classes from 6th through 10th grade on occasion in a more guest speaker type of format. The MOU's in your packet and has been reviewed by board attorney as well as Sheriff's Office attorney, and it is all in order.
What are the wishes of the board?
Move to make a motion to accept the MOU from the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office.
Okay, and Ms. Brent seconds it. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Ainsworth?
I just wanted to say thanks to Dr. Fagan Bush, to this board and to the district. We've been working on this since like 2019, but I was actually doing it with another uniform on. And, but we were still in the schools doing it. So now we can officially come in and do it with the right systems in place to make sure that everyone's protected. So I'm very proud of our district and our parish. This is actually a global movement, and it's a way to start to answer the question to why the behavior. When children begin to understand why they're responding, then we can help them sometime to de-escalate the behavior. So thank you all so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we work together as one of the stakeholders.
Thank you so much.
Well, the grant actually is paying me to do just this. So I'm no longer, I'm still in the unit and I still come by, walk through the school. But when I go in now, it's specifically for this purpose.
Thank you to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for having a heart for the community and always looking after the children in and out of uniform. You have done a lot on your personal time for this, and I just want to thank you personally for that. You've gone above and beyond.
Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you so much. Number 13, consider funding repairs at St. Mary Alternative Program to lift and stabilize the concrete slab in the multipurpose building in the amount of $32,500 funded by all district maintenance funds. Mr. Wise.
Good afternoon to all. We're having some issues at the St. Mary Alternative School inside the multipurpose building. You can see some of the pictures, I think, in your book. We're having some foundation issues where we have some walls that are sagging and in the verge of possibly even collapsing. So I'm really wanting to fix this and not wait for special projects over the summer. I'm asking for $32,500 to repair that slab in that building.
I'll make the motion to approve the funding.
All right, Ms. Griffin makes the motion, Mr. Mancuso seconds it. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 14, proclamations. A. Nope. Forgot to check them out. Sorry. Number 15, permission to negotiate future bus leases and or purchases. Mr. Perry.
We currently have 58 lease buses. And the reason this item is on here is we're experiencing some really high increases. We've been paying for a regular ed bus like $15,800 a year for the lease. Well, they're going up $9,000 a year to $24,008. A special ed bus is even higher. Now, these leases do include air conditioning and the cameras. But what we're finding is they're having significant increases. And not only that, we've been able to have 5-year terms all this time, 5-year leases. So you're locked in for 5 years. Well, now they're only going to 3 years. So it's getting very, very expensive. And then if you buy a bus outright, that's high too, $133,000 for a regular ed and $146,000 for special ed. The special ed costs more because of the lifts and all of that. So, you know, what we're not really sure long range what to do. We're going to have to do an analysis of leasing versus purchasing buses. A lot of districts are purchasing, but we still need to put the pencil to it. And it's a pretty extensive study. When you start buying buses, you're looking at having to increase your facilities and whatever. So, but for the immediate future, we actually have 32 leases are up for renewal, but 16 of them, they're going to extend another year. So that leaves us 16. So we'd like to buy 6 new buses and then renew up to the other 10. Now, we're hoping to not need all of those because we're having a mapping project and we're hoping to reduce some routes, which would mean reducing some leases. So for the upcoming year, we're just trying to get through it. So we want to have permission to negotiate and start this whole project. Anything we do on this other stuff, it'll be included in the budget. You know, the lease increases are always in the budget. You know, it'll all be transparent and we'll bring it to you. So, but this is all promulgated because of the sharp increase. So we're just getting permission to kind of move forward with negotiating. Dr. Fagenbush, want to add anything to that?
We also have right now activity buses at our school sites, particularly our middle and high schools, in which they have aged. And so thinking ahead in the future and trying to plan strategically, we know that we don't have replacement buses that we own because we only have a handful of buses that we own at St. Mary Parish. So in speaking with the gentleman from Ross, he talked to us about the buses that they have coming in that may have been used for 1 or 2 years. Let's say a charter school, for example, has used a bus for 2 years. It's air conditioned, all the things that we're looking for, but perhaps that bus might be $65,000 to $70,000 instead of $135,000. So that's also part of the ask that we are asking you for, is that we can go ahead and negotiate some of those purchases in-house when they become available.
What are the wishes of the board? Ms. Griffin makes a motion, Mr. Ponte seconding. All right, any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, under reports, Chief Financial Officer's report, Mr. Perry.
Your financial statements are in the packet. And then we have the sales tax report. And this was a real good month. We're 7 months into the new fiscal year, so we're halfway through now. And these January collections, we collected we collected 2.49, no, it was 2.5 million versus $1,995,000 budget. So it was a real good month, but that does include your Christmas sales. So that's kind of the custom. That's normal. So overall, we're in good shape with sales tax, but this was a little higher because of the Christmas sales. And that's all I have.
All right, the superintendent's report.
St. Mary Parish Public Schools majority to minority M2M transfer window is now open. The St. Mary Parish Public School System is inviting parents of students in kindergarten through 12th grade to participate in the majority to minority student transfer program. This transfer allows a student whose race is the majority at his or her residential school to transfer to a school where the student's race is in the minority at the receiving school. Transportation is provided at no cost to families. For additional information, please visit our St. Mary Parish Public Schools website to apply online. And remember that you can also reach out to our central office staff who will be happy to assist you. This week, we recognize our professional school counselors as part of National School Counseling Week held February 5th through the 9th. This week focuses attention on the unique contribution of school counselors within our schools. National School Counseling Week highlights the tremendous impact our counselors have in helping students achieve school success and plan for a career. This year's theme is School Counseling, Standards-Based, Student-Focused. Please take a moment to thank your professional school counselors for advocating for our students each day. Tomorrow, February 9th, students will be early released for parent-teacher conferences. Parents, please reach out to your school site in the morning if you still need to establish a conference time. The conversations we have together concerning our children can only strengthen all of our efforts to provide environments in which our children can thrive. Not that a reminder is needed, but the Mardi Gras holiday begins Monday. Students are off for the break for the entire week and will return to school on February 19th. We wish everyone loads of safe fun with family and friends. In February is nationally recognized as African American or Black History Month. As a nation, we celebrate the achievements, contributions, and resilience of a culture and individuals who have been an integral part of who we are all today. As part of the recognition and celebration of Black History Month, many programs and events are taking place in our schools this month. A flyer of events has been posted on our district website and on school sites. We invite the public to join us as we come together to learn, appreciate, and uplift the stories and experiences that have shaped all of our world. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Any other business? All right, Ms. Estes, a resolution of respect. Can I get a motion to adjourn after this? Mr. Mancuso makes the motion, Ms. Moore seconds it. All those in favor?
In memoriam of Diane Alamo, retired school cafeteria technician, and Sandra Blanco, retired school nurse. Whereas Almighty God, in his infinite wisdom, has taken from our midst. And whereas their untimely death has deprived the St. Mary Parish School Board of these beloved colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the St. Mary Parish School Board and the people attending this meeting bow their heads in silent prayer out of respect and extend to their bereaved families our sincere condolences and express the high regard in which we held each of them in life and honor their memory in death. And that this meeting adjourn out of respect for Diane Alamo and Sandra Blanco. Amen.